Our neighbor was always nice until we got a dog. Then the notes started. Your dog barks too loud. Your dog looks aggressive. Your dog sniffed my grass. Then one night, I came home and my dog was gone. The back gate was open. I checked the cameras. She was luring him out with cheese. I ran next door. She denied everything. Then I heard barking, from her basement. She said, "You don't deserve him. I'm teaching him peace." The police had to bust the door down. What they found down there wasn't just our dog. We moved into our house in Rockford, Illinois, during the last fall before everything went to hell. Hannah and I had been married just over a year, and we were finally starting to feel like adults. Mortgage, home projects, takeout Fridays. We weren't rich. Our house had chipped siding and a leaky garage, but it was home. Rowdy came a few months later. We'd been visiting shelters all over the area looking for a dog. We didn't want a puppy. Too much to handle. We wanted a dog that needed a second chance. When we saw Rowdy, he was curled in the corner of a chain-link pen, shaking. But when I crouched down and whistled, he came over, real slow, and licked my hand once. That was it. That's when I knew. The shelter said he was a mix, maybe lab and something bigger. He was about 65 pounds, short black fur, huge paws, and the kind of eyes that made you feel like he was trying to read your mind. They said he'd been abandoned. Malnourished. Possibly abused. Rowdy didn't bark much at first. For weeks, he barely made a sound. But once he realized he was safe with us, he came alive. He'd run circles in the backyard chasing shadows. He'd bark at squirrels and birds and the mailman. He even howled once when he heard a harmonica on the radio. It was hilarious. The first complaint came 2 months later. It wasn't even in person. It was a note, typed and folded, taped to our mailbox. Please control your dog's barking. It's disrupting the peace. No name. No address. Just that. We figured someone was being dramatic. Rowdy barked like any other dog. We didn't let him outside at night, didn't leave him out for hours. We shrugged it off. Then came another. Your dog appears aggressive. Several neighbors are concerned. That one pissed me off. Rowdy had never lunged, snapped, or growled at anyone. He barked, so what? That's what dogs do. We started keeping him inside more. Only let him out when we were there watching. Then the notes got weirder. Your dog sniffed my grass and unbalanced the flow of energy in my yard. Your dog's aura is unstable. It could influence others negatively. That's when we knew who it was. Miss Patricia Leary. She lived right next door. Always dressed the same, sweater, long skirt, old sandals even in winter. She kept little wind chimes in her front garden and had one of those live laugh love plaques on her porch. She seemed harmless. Brought over banana bread once when we moved in. But she was off. She'd talk about vibrations and auras like she was some kind of spiritual guru. I tried to talk to her once about the notes. I was polite. She smiled and denied it. Said maybe someone else was leaving them. Said our dog seemed troubled. I walked away feeling uneasy. Then one night everything changed. It was a Thursday. Hannah and I went out for dinner. Rowdy was inside when we left. When we came home around 9, I opened the back door to let him out, but the house was too quiet. I called his name. No Rowdy. Panic hit instantly. I ran to the backyard. The gate was wide open. We tore through the neighborhood, screaming his name. We checked every street, every yard, every alley. Nothing. I rushed back inside and pulled up our security footage. And there she was. At 7:43 p.m., Ms. Leary walked into our backyard from her side. She had a slice of cheese in her hand. She crouched by the gate, whispering something we couldn't hear. Rowdy came up, wagging his tail, hesitant. She opened the gate. Called him again. And he followed her. I ran next door and pounded on her door like a madman. She opened it slowly, no surprise on her face. "Where is he?" I shouted. She didn't blink. "He's not here. I saw the video. You lured him out with food." Her face stayed calm. "You don't deserve him," she said. "He's unbalanced. I'm teaching him peace." Then I heard it. A bark. Faint. From inside her house. I pushed forward. She slammed the door in my face. I called the police. 2 officers showed up fast. I showed them the footage. They knocked, asked to search. She refused. Said we were harassing her. Called Rowdy a damaged animal and us reckless owners. But when Rowdy barked again, louder, clearer, the officers changed their tone. One officer told her he had probable cause. She tried to stall. Claimed we were dangerous. But they forced the door. Her house was spotless. Like something out of a brochure. Air fresheners in every corner. Weird spiritual symbols drawn on the walls. Then they opened the basement door. It smelled like mold, sweat, and something worse. Down there, tied loosely to a heavy old chair, was Rowdy. Whining, tail thumping the floor when he saw me. But he wasn't alone. There were 2 other dogs, both looked half-starved. One had cataracts so bad I don't think it could see. There were bowls with half-rotten food. Blankets on the floor. And a closet full of collars. Dozens. She'd been stealing dogs. For years, maybe. Said she was saving them from bad homes. Said she was resetting their energy. She was arrested. Charged. Taken away. But Rowdy didn't come home the same. He was scared now. Afraid of loud noises. Wouldn't leave my side. We tried to get back to normal. But 2 weeks after she was taken away, a note appeared in our mailbox. Typed. Folded. "The dog is still unbalanced. You didn't learn." Should I keep going? That note, that damn note, sent a chill straight down my spine. We'd thought it was over. That once Ms. Leary was in custody, we could finally breathe again. But now it felt like the walls were closing back in. I showed Hannah the note. She looked pale. "Maybe it's someone trying to scare us," she said. "Some idiot who heard about what happened." But I wasn't buying that. The wording. The way it was typed. Same font, same neat folds, same smug tone. Even the way it smelled. Like lavender. Just like her house. "But she's in jail," I said. Hannah didn't answer. I called the police again. Told them about the note. They logged it but said there wasn't much they could do unless we had proof someone was trespassing. I asked if Ms. Leary had been released. The officer said, no. Still in county. No bail. So then how was someone still leaving notes? The next night, I stayed up. Sat by the window with the lights off. Watching the yard. Nothing. The night after that. Same thing. But on the third night, around 2:30 a.m., I saw movement. A figure. Walking along the edge of our backyard, slow, like they were trying not to make noise. I grabbed my phone and hit record. It was a man. Hooded, but definitely not her. He reached our gate, slipped a piece of paper through the crack in the wood, and walked off into the dark. I ran out the front and down the sidewalk, but he was gone. The paper was a note. You're not protecting him. You're making him worse. We turned the footage over to police. They promised to look into it, but they didn't seem urgent. Said it might be some sympathizer. Maybe someone she knew. We started keeping Rowdy inside almost full time. Then came the rocks. Small ones. Tossed at our windows at night. Never enough to break anything. Just enough to wake us up. And then, someone cut the power to our security cameras. Wire sliced clean. That night, our back door handle was scratched. Almost like someone had tried to pick the lock. I couldn't sleep anymore. I kept a bat by the bed. Hannah cried in the shower. Rowdy paced every night, growling at shadows. We didn't know who was watching us. Who else was part of this? I started asking around. I talked to neighbors I barely knew. That's when I met Gerald. He lived 4 houses down. Had a pit bull mix named Lucky. When I told him what had happened, he looked at me strange. She did the same thing to me, he said. What? 3 years ago. Lucky disappeared for 2 days. I thought he'd gotten out. Then he showed up again, covered in weird chalk markings. Like someone had drawn on him with powder. Took him to the vet, nothing physical. But he's never been the same since. Real skittish. I reported it. No one did anything. Why didn't you say anything? He looked away. She sent me a note. Told me if I talked, Lucky might not come back next time. My stomach dropped. How many dogs are missing around here? I asked. He didn't answer. Just walked back inside. That night, I posted in a local Facebook group. I kept it vague. Asked if anyone in the area had lost a pet in the last few years under strange circumstances. The replies blew up. Over 24 people commented within hours. Lost dogs. Vanished cats. Pets showing up with odd behavior, odd smells, collars missing. Most had never connected it to Leary. Some lived blocks away. That's when I realized this was bigger than us. She wasn't just a crazy neighbor. She was running something. And someone was still running it while she was locked up. The next note proved it. The house is still poisoned. He feels it. So do we. We didn't sleep after that. Want me to keep going? After that last note, things spiraled fast. We weren't just scared anymore, we were trapped. I installed new security cameras, inside and out. Upgraded the motion lights. Even put alarms on the fence gates. Hannah started sleeping with pepper spray on her nightstand. And Rowdy, he didn't leave our side. He barely slept unless we were both in the room. But the notes kept coming. Always typed. Always folded. Always slipped through some crack we missed. His soul is tangled in your fear. You won't heal him. You're just feeding his chaos. We can still take him. We always could. I started noticing things in the neighborhood. People I'd never seen before, walking slow past our house. Sometimes they stared. Sometimes they didn't even look up, just kept walking back and forth, like they were checking something off a list. Once, I saw one of them stop, bend down, and press their hand flat against our sidewalk, then walk away. That's when I went back to the footage from that night, the guy in the hoodie. I slowed it down, frame by frame. And that's when I saw it. He had a tattoo on his hand. It wasn't clear, but it looked like some kind of spiral or circle pattern, black ink, right on the back of his hand. I remembered seeing that same pattern once, on a wind chime in Ms. Leary's garden. I checked old photos we had from when she brought over cookies that first month. Sure enough, there it was on the porch, hanging behind her. This wasn't random. It was a group. A pattern. I didn't know who they were, but they were organized, and they were still watching us. Then one night, Rowdy started barking around 3 a.m. Not his usual bark. This was frantic, sharp, panicked. I grabbed the bat and rushed downstairs. Our back door was wide open. But it wasn't broken. The lock wasn't picked. It was unlocked. Like someone had used a key. I ran outside. Rowdy sprinted past me, sniffing the ground like he was tracking something. He led me to the edge of the yard. The gate was still closed. But someone had left a bag hanging from it. A cloth bag. Inside were 3 pieces of the same cheese slices Ms. Leary had used to lure him before, a dog collar that wasn't Rowdy's, a picture of Rowdy, printed in black and white, with his eyes scratched out, and a note, "He still remembers peace. You'll never keep him from it." That was it. I went straight to the police the next morning and demanded they look into the group. I told them about the tattoo, the spiral, the pattern of animal disappearances. The officer who'd helped us before pulled me aside after the report. "Look," he said. "I'm going off the record. But we've had rumors about a group around here. Something spiritual or cult-like. Nothing solid. They keep things quiet. Dogs, cats, even missing people tied to them in whispers. But we've never had proof." "You do now," I said. "You have the footage. The notes. The bag." He nodded. "I'll send it up. But be careful. These people don't scare easy." That night, I installed a deadbolt on the inside of the back door. Bolted every window. Bought a gun. I wasn't messing around anymore. Then Gerald showed up again. He knocked around 11 p.m., shaking, eyes wide. I opened the door and he blurted out, "They came for Lucky." I pulled him inside. He was crying. "They broke into my garage," he said. "He sleeps out there during the summer." I found the back panel pried open. "He's gone." We sat there in silence while Rowdy paced, ears high, tail stiff. Then Gerald pulled something out of his jacket. A spiral pendant. Metal, old-looking. Burnt around the edges. "I found this on my porch. Just lying there." It was the same symbol from the tattoo. The same symbol from Leary's wind chime. That same week, 3 more neighbors' pets went missing. The police barely responded. The neighborhood chat groups exploded. Everyone was scared, but no one knew who to trust. And then I got another note. But this one was handwritten. "Rowdy doesn't belong to you. He never did. He was chosen. You just borrowed him. He knows that now." Rowdy wouldn't eat that night. Just stood at the door, growling at nothing. The night Rowdy stopped eating was the night I knew I had to do something. I wasn't going to wait around anymore. I was done hiding. Done being scared. If someone wanted my dog, they'd have to come through me. That same day, I drove out to the county jail. I needed to look her in the eyes, Ms. Leary. It took hours to get a visit set up. I wasn't family, but I pushed. Said it was about an ongoing case. Eventually, they let me see her. She came into the room wearing a beige jumpsuit, still with that same peaceful look on her face. Like she wasn't behind bars. Like she was on vacation. "You came," she said, smiling. "I knew you would." I sat down, fists clenched under the table. "Tell them to leave us alone," I said. "I don't care what your little group believes in. Rowdy is mine. You can't take him." Her smile dropped just a little. "You don't get it," she said. "He's not yours. He's been marked. You brought him into the noise. You ignored the signs. He was sent to heal, not suffer." "He's a dog," I snapped. "He's my dog." She leaned in closer. Her voice was quiet, steady. "He remembers before you. Before the pain. Before the fear. He knows what peace feels like now. And he'll return to it. One way or another." I left before I said something I'd regret. That night, I didn't sleep. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the alarm went off. Motion sensors, backyard. I grabbed the gun and ran downstairs. Hannah was behind me with the phone. We saw them through the window, 3 figures, all in dark clothing, standing in the yard. One of them had the spiral symbol painted across his shirt in red. They weren't moving. Just standing there. watching. I stepped outside. "Get the hell off my property!" I shouted, gun raised. None of them flinched. Then one of them said, "He's ready." I fired a warning shot into the air. They scattered. One ran straight over the fence. Another tripped on a planter. But I didn't chase. I just stood there, shaking. That same morning, Gerald called. They found Lucky. Dead. Tied to a tree in an empty lot 3 blocks over. Body clean. Eyes closed. A spiral burned into the grass beneath him. We buried Lucky in Gerald's backyard. Rowdy sat next to the grave the whole time, not making a sound. That was it for me. I went back to the footage. Spent hours reviewing every second, from every camera. I built a timeline. Traced the hoodie guy's path. Found where he left. A narrow alley that led to an abandoned house on Pine Street. I drove there at 3 a.m., alone. No lights. No sounds. Just an old, boarded-up home that smelled like rot and something worse. Inside, I found candles, ashes, bones, small ones, and dozens of spiral carvings across the walls. I found a room full of dog tags. A book filled with names. Dates. Symbols next to each one. Some had check marks. Others had XS. I found Rowdy's name, circled twice. I took photos of everything. Every wall. Every tag. Every page. Then I poured gasoline from the back of my truck over the floors. I didn't even hesitate. I burned it down. By the time the fire department showed up, it was too late. The house was ash. The cops questioned me, but I said I found it like that. No one had proof otherwise. The next morning, a final note appeared on our porch. Burned at the edges. Peace cannot be destroyed. You only delayed it. That same day, Ms. Leary was found dead in her cell. Suicide, they said. But the guard told a different story. He said she died with a smile on her face. Whispered something before she stopped breathing, "He's almost free." I kept Rowdy close after that. Never let him out of my sight. But something had changed. He wasn't the same. He watched the door all the time. Would stare at corners for minutes, unblinking. He'd whimper in his sleep and sometimes growl at nothing. Then, one night, he walked out the back door. I forgot to lock it. Just one night. The cameras didn't catch anything. No one approached. No one called his name. He just left. We searched for weeks. Flyers. Phone calls. Animal shelters. But he never came back. I don't know if they took him, or if he chose to go. But I do know this, when I sleep now, I hear him barking, sometimes close, sometimes far. And every now and then, I wake up to find the front gate swinging open. Always at 2:17 a.m. And every time, there's a note under the mat. He's with us now. And he's finally at peace. And me? I wasn't innocent either. I made mistakes. I ignored the signs. I thought protecting him meant walls and weapons. But they didn't just want him, they believed he belonged to them. And maybe, deep down, some part of him believed it too.